since I moved to Windsor, I've been intrigued by the Plaza building. It's a beautiful building. Uh, it was laid idle for quite some time, but then Neill is the new owner of it. He's doing a lot of good work on it. He wanted to tell us what he's doing at the Plaza building, and he has a video about the marquee. Take it away, Neill.
Thank you so much for having me, Jim. And thank you to the Windsor Lions Club. It's an honor to be here tonight. I see some familiar faces and I see some new ones. And I also am admitting a couple more people into the room. So tonight, what I really wanted to focus on is one of the more artistic parts of the building that we've been working on, which is the marquee. And with the help of a gentleman named Philip Schaller, we've been able to redo a lot of the Art Deco details that we wanted, but also completely refabricate the thing. So we are using some custom bent red neon and LED throughout to have a little bit of old and a little bit of new, but you'll see really what we've been working on, what it looked like, and what Phil has to say in the short video that I prepared. It's actually not too short, about 20 minutes, so I hope that's okay, Jim. It's pretty conversational, and we made it happen in one take, so we'll see how it works, guys. Just hold on one second, and I will share. We get a couple more people joining. Wonderful. Hi, Jane.
Again, as people are going on, if they could mute themselves, this is being recorded.
All right, Phil.
Just to be clear, can everyone see and hear this?
Thank you so much for making time with me today.
My pleasure, Neill. Thank you.
Sure. Well, we are here to give a short presentation to our viewers today from the Windsor Lions Club. Very happy to present to you folks. I'll be joining you later tonight at your meeting to answer any additional questions. But one of the things that we wanted to focus on when sharing the amazing amount of work that we've done at the Plaza is some of the finer craftsmanship that we have in some of the projects. And the marquee has been a labor of love. It has been a lot of work. And I really wanted to focus, or rather shine the focus on Phil today, Phil Schaller, to talk about what the process was, what he needed to do, and how we got to where we are. So Phil, I'm going to be pulling up a couple pictures as we're going through this. But if I can just ask you first, what drew you to the project?
It actually was a call from your architect, Chris, who I had worked on a few other jobs, but I've been in the sign industry for over 50 years, and he knew I was involved in some large production jobs and fabrication jobs, pylon signs, and so he called and asked if we were interested, and I came up and I think I met you and your dad, and it looked like a good project to get involved in, big challenges, and I was very encouraged how you wanted to save the old sign. So I think that's what drew my interest to getting involved and see if we can make it work. And that's how it all started.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you mentioned 50 years in this industry. What are some of the projects that you've worked on in the past that are similar to the marquee?
Back in the early 80s, we did some work in Hartford. I don't remember the name of the jobs. And then there was another theater in Torrington, the Warner Theater, which we had worked on. But we just, in the 70s, I did a lot of fabrication work, sheet metal work and structural work. And it just was part of this job. And I really wouldn't doubt it.
I can't hear anything.
Oh,
I can't either.
Sorry about that.
Steps in planning this before you started work. I'll make sure to show some pictures at this point as well. But what were some of the first steps for you?
So it was taking a lot of measurements and photographs, and then I think we supplied some options on colors, and there was that green that tied in the building. So we started leaning towards that, and you and your dad and the architect kind of directed us on what you would like at the end of the day. So I think in your pile there there was the original structural drawing from the architect. And then over to the left on your screen is some of the option drawings. So that was the underside of the sign. And I think if you continue a little more, you could see how there was original structural and plan drawings of how we would attack this. So we were using the existing letters, removing them, building new channel letters, putting them on a raceway, putting in new faces with new inserted letters. And that also shows the front nose of how the LED lighting would go in it. So that was our original concept drawing, which we built the sign from.
So if I may ask, why stick with traditional bent neon for the sign as opposed to using, I guess, a more standard LED these days?
Well, first of all, the neon certainly has the old look, but the LED lighting, I think, is still going to capture that. And then energy conscious and just new technology versus back in 1930 when that sign was built. So I think it's kind of keeping up with the times, is still looking at making it look like the old marquee from back in 1930.
Fantastic. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of a blast from the past, some pictures that we have throughout it, and if you can just give us a little bit more color as we're working through them, talking about the process, some of the steps that were involved.
Okay.
I'll share that with you right now. So this is going way back when.
Look at you.
2012. So when I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, almost a decade ago when we first started the project. So as you can see, the state of the marquee was something very different from what it is now. These are the old letters, the old raceway, I guess, there. And I was standing on this platform, but it was probably very ill-advised to be doing so at the time. So let me get to our next one. So once again, this is our original underside of the plaza, and you can still see some of the original neon that was there. Were you surprised that neon was still intact, even though it hadn't been turned on in a long time?
Yeah, there was a couple pieces that were still good until we cut the sign down, but it was amazing. And the birds loved that. I'm sure they're a little disappointed because there was a lot of birdhouses in there.
Yes, there were. We get some fantastic blue jays, but over the years, I've had the opportunity to take some really fantastic pictures from the inside, and
That's a nice picture.
Yeah. Just going through the seasons, we have a lot of birds who, as you mentioned, made their home there. But it was so nice to just sit outside, have a cup of coffee and watch the town through the letters. So this is some of the first steps that we took when it came to seeing what was underneath the sign and what needed to be done structurally in terms of changes. So can you speak to what you're seeing here at this point?
Yeah, so I didn't do most of that interior structure work, but whoever did it did a great job. So that was some of the old lighting that was in there, which is all ripped out. There was a lot of steel that was compromised that your structural guy had fixed that. And then I remember they put new stainless steel tie rods from the building. I think that's shown in another picture, which is the main support holding that cantilever sign.
Yeah, so to your point, the sign is really held to the building by just these two anchors.
Yes, that front edge obviously is bolted to the building, but that cantilever is those tie rods that you could probably see in another picture, but that was all replaced. There's the old tie rods that you could see.
Yeah. And we'll see one of those in some of the latter pictures that I have of when we finished the flat roof over there, as well as the new cantilever. So, you know, throughout this process, we've seen so much change there. And for me, one of these, this picture and the video that's accompanying it were pretty monumental to see, you know, knowing that the theater opened in 1929. And this was, gosh, November of 2018. For me, it was a big deal to know that it was almost, gosh, 90 years that these letters were hanging over Windsor Center, and we finally took them down. So it was a little weird not to see them for a bit there. So what was especially difficult about the process of redoing these letters? Did you use them as a template for building the new one?
Well, we did match the letter style, but we really didn't use it as a template. We took them down, and in fact, I think you still have a set of the old letters in the theater, which I'm sure you're going to do something fantastic with.
Absolutely.
But we just kept the old letter style and fabricated new letters and mounted them on a raceway. And those letters do have neon in them, the new ones.
So shall we get to this video of the when we finally took it down?
See this. Yeah, it's a good memory. This is over 2 years ago, I think.
So we have this one, and then we have one more, I believe. But yeah, seeing them come off was a little scary, but it was fantastic. And so, how did you get up there? Your truck has a lift on the back of it, right?
Yeah, I was in our bucket truck, and you know, when you're cutting things like that, you kind of never know what's gonna cut loose first. So there they come. Oh, that's a nice picture, Neil.
First time in about 90 years. And this is what it looked like afterwards. It was,
Wow.
It was surprising, to say the least. But the birds did like having a little extra room.
So we ended up covering all the back of that. And then I'm sure you have pictures of the roof.
Yeah. So,
Oh, look at, there's
so
the
one
cat.
more. Yep. This is Alice. But when you started covering the back before you put up the raceway for the letters, this was one of the first steps. And in this, you can see the how the tie rods building is connected to the sign quite a bit more securely now than it ever was.
Yeah, that's for sure. Oh,
So-
so there's Josh. That's the new front nose that we made, and we're sliding that over to put it in place. Here it is.
So we see some really fantastic design details that you've brought out and that you've emphasized. You know, the nose there has some detail that wasn't on the original, but it really plays to the Art Deco style that we're hoping to share throughout the entire building. So what were some of the design decisions that you made or details that you wanted to pull out?
Well, that front nose was actually, you know, a very interesting design they had. So we wanted to keep the same flavor that they did. And that little grill work actually is still the original grill, the one right below his hand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that we saved that and put it right back on. So
Wow.
those channels created the recess where the new LED lighting was going to go. And back then it was actually where the neon was. It went across the top, down the front, and then went all the way back into the building, which I think you have some pictures showing how that's going to be redone, the channels underneath.
Yeah, I'll make sure to show you that one in a hot second. So
But
this,
it certainly picks up the Art Deco that captured the old theater.
yeah. And what do you think about the process to get that new neon in there? How long did that take, knowing that we've actually waited quite a while because we had 3 that shorted out? So where do you even find someone to make custom bent neon these days?
Well, there's only like 2 in Connecticut, and they're all extremely busy. So right now we're using someone out of Rhode Island, and it's actually a pretty large shop, but they with the pandemic and things like that, they're like, sometimes they're shut down and they're open. So hopefully another week or so we'll have those made. Those are nice pictures.
So you were speaking about the channels a little while ago and how the LED is going to mimic what the neon originally did and extend underneath the sign.
Right, so if you look at this front picture right here, where you see the green channels, that's where the LED is going to run, which at one time was neon. And that continues underneath, and then it kind of does a little chevron shootout and goes back towards the building. And I think, is it farther down, there was actually shown the LED coloring?
Oh, yes, yeah, I can share that as well. I think these are some of the colors that we're talking about using.
Yeah, oh, actually, I think that's in another picture by itself that shows the breakout of the LED underneath. I think it's in another one of your pictures. Not in this group though.
Okay.
Thank you for bearing with the rough presentation.
All right, we're back. So I will share the footage that we have here with regards to the LED lighting layout. So what colors should folks expect to see on the marquee outside of the red?
So the red is in the word plaza, and then above and below the marquee changing letters is going to be blue LED, which is not shown here. But this here shows the front nose and it shows the underside. So you have to almost imagine you're looking from the top down right through the sign. Or if you want to flip your head around, it shows the street side and the building side. So you're going to have yellow and green coming down the front nose, and then a straight yellow LED shoots straight into the building. And then on the flanks is the green LED that is going to head towards the building, follow the perimeter of the sign, and then parallel right back into the building.
Wow.
Which should look pretty amazing.
I know that everyone on this call is going to be excited to see this when it's finally lit. So at the end of the pictures that we're going to be showing, we'll show you a little teaser of what the neon looks like. But once the LED is in, it's going to shine bright over Windsor Center, and it's not going to be going off anytime soon. So I hopefully someone in this meeting might be able to actually tell me the last time they saw that light on, because I can tell you, even going back to when I was a kid, I don't remember ever seeing the marquee lit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is a good place to pause because I did want to ask the group, does anyone remember seeing the marquee actually lit? And what year would that have been? Anyone? Oh, yep.
I've seen it lit, but I can't remember how long ago it was. I remember going to movies there as a kid.
I am very curious, knowing that it closed around 1996. I'm trying to remember if when I saw Jurassic Park there or my first James Bond movie there, if the lights had been on, but soon enough we'll be able to show that to you. So we just have a few minutes left, and then I'm happy to take questions. Thank you for bearing with the kind of rough format, but it was great to get Phil on the line today.
So I'll share some of the work that has been accomplished through these photos here. So what are we looking at right now? These are the new letters, right?
New letters, the back side, it shows the raceway. It shows the back of the sign with new panels on it before you did the roof. So that's the south elevation, I think, the back of it. And that's the north, yep, that looking straight out.
And once again, under the snow, all new.
So this here was when we were putting on the cladding, the front cladding. So you could still see the old theater sign underneath. And we measured and made new brushed aluminum cladding for the front to cover it. And that also shows the raceway on top, and we added those little brushed aluminum accent pieces on the end of the raceway. So as a bird's eye view, the raceway actually curves on each end.
Oh. And this is the neon before we got a chance to see it live, but it looks so fantastic when we had it in there. Could you remind me where are we getting that neon from?
That's coming from a company out of Rhode Island called NEPCO. And then this picture also shows, look at that. That picture also shows the inside of the sign. We covered it with new white aluminum composite. And then you could see the rows of LED lighting inside, which is going to light your directory. Actually, the back picture, there you go. You could see it better. See those rows? That's all LED modules.
And that's going to backlight anything that we put on there, such that it's easy to read at night.
Correct. The changeable letters that you have, which I think there's illustration of the type of letters you're using.
Yeah, I'll jump right to that one as well, so we can talk a little bit about that.
So those are the marquee letters. It shows the track that we put up, and those are formed letters from a company called Gemini, which is made for changeable marquee letters, and they're actually called Snap Block. And you have quite a few letters in your inventory to display a lot of messages for your upcoming events. So those rails were fastened to Lexan panels, which are translucent, illuminated by the LED modules inside, and those letters snap on.
So I think we've given people a little taste of what you were able to accomplish with not only a lot of hard work, but some imagination here. And we really appreciate the time and effort that you put into this, Phil. What was the total amount of time for the project, you'd say?
Oh my goodness. I don't know if, well, you know, there's been a lot of hours that, you know, that's a tough question. I think we've been at it for 2 years on and off, in between snowstorms and windstorms and pandemics. And we've been taking tiny steps in getting there, and it's been a long time. So hard to say in hours. I bet you we have over 400 or 500 man hours in there easily.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Well, soon enough, we'll be sharing your work with the rest of the town. I'm looking forward to sharing the final product. We've just recently completed, I guess, the underside of the sign. So up next is just the lighting, and then we're ready to go.
Which that's all on order. Of course, it's made to order. So hopefully in a few weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, and it should glow.
Fantastic. Well, Phil, I really appreciate you making time for me today, and for the Lions Club as well. I look forward to seeing you here soon and sharing all of our fantastic work with the town.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. That was our little video. Thank you for bearing with the format. We wanted to just get something together for you that talked a little bit about one of the many parts of this building. Hearing Phil talk about the number of man hours, it still surprises me just how much time and effort he put into it. But the product is fantastic. We're really, really proud of it. And as you heard, within the next 2 months, we will actually be able to keep that light on, shining over Windsor Center once again. So I'm happy to answer any questions at this point.
I have a question here.
Sure.
When's the building supposed to be finished with the stores for opening?
Of course, that's the big question. The kitchen and the restaurant space downstairs are essentially very close to being complete. Our kitchen, both upstairs, downstairs, as well as our bars, of which we have 3 in the building, are all complete. Of course, the pandemic was a bit of a hit to our timeline, not being able to have as many people working at a time. also having some delays when it came to production. So our goal is to have a soft opening and really to gauge, interest in terms of the events that we're having beginning at the end of this year. But we're hoping to be in full swing for 2022.
And what's going on? What's your name? I keep on forgetting it.
Let me tell you what's in it. So I think of the building as primarily 4 spaces. The first space are the 9 apartments that are upstairs. So what we've decided to do is not have these as traditional rental spaces moving forward. They are going to essentially support whatever's happening inside the theater space, which compromises our second space. The theater has been really comprehensively redone, and I've kept a lot of that quite secret. So you might not have seen some pictures on social media. We haven't shared a lot of that as yet. Because I know that for a lot of folks, including in this room, who had seen it when they were kids, it's going to be a big surprise. We have removed all sound deadening material. All chairs are gone. The ceiling is going to look extremely different than what you'd imagine. We have re-poured the entire floor, and it's now 2 levels. We also opened up the projection booth and added a second floor entryway to the space itself.
It looks nice. What's going on with the next building that your dad and you guys are going to do where the car dealership is?
That's an excellent question, but let me get through the next 2 parts of the building. The main space downstairs is our restaurant, and the restaurant is a little over 4,500 square feet. It's a 150-seat restaurant. If you peek in the window, you can now see our final bar, including the cabinetry that we had done. The restaurant space hopefully will be able to accommodate civic groups like the Windsor Lions Club, Civitan Club, and others who are looking for a home to meet once we finally can get back into that. Finally, finally, our 4th space is the what was formerly the Windsor Donut Shop, which is also a very far cry from what it once was. We refer to it as our private dining room. So that's going to be where you would have folks like myself, a financial advisor, an attorney, a CPA, having perhaps a small event for their clients. You could also see something like the Windsor Conservation Commission having their meetings there, or using it for the town in any way that they see fit. So we're really excited to work with civic groups and work with town committees.
Neill, are you going to have a special event when you do the lighting? Is there going to be something that's going to be advertised let the Lions know about it so we can be there to enjoy that? I think it's going to be very exciting.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to have a little bit of a lighting ceremony. We're still waiting on that LED to come in rather. And as I mentioned, we got all the way through having the neon in the sign, and once we ran electricity to it, 3 of the bulbs burnt. So the P, the L, and the A on the new side have been they've had to be reconstructed, and unfortunately we had to toss what we had. So that alone, just those 3 letters, we've been waiting for. I think it's 3.5 months now. So a lot of things, unfortunately, are taking a lot of time, but we're looking forward to sharing it with you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions for Neill? If not, we really thank you. Someday, when you're ready to share with us, seeing more of what you're doing on the inside, you've talked about it, but actually seeing it would be great too. I really think that's a great thing you're doing for Windsor Center. And who knows, we may even want to come and visit you sometime as a club.
Hey, I would really appreciate that. And, I shared a story with Jim, and I'll just end on this for you guys, really just to share what it is that I'm doing here. Why a 33-year-old has been working for the last 9 years with his dad to try to get a theater that has been closed for the better part of 20 years going. Well, my dad is a veterinarian, immigrant, small business owner, and he and my mom chose to start their family and start their lives together in Connecticut and in Windsor. So my mom lived in the apartments owned by the Steeligs right next to Union Street Tavern. That was her first apartment. And my dad was able to bring both of his parents over from India, as well as both of his sisters and all of their kids. So we have 14 family members who have become US citizens through Windsor, Connecticut. All of the kids went through Windsor public school systems, and I have relatives who are still here. And really, when we were young, there was only one place in the area that played films in Hindi. And that little taste of home, that little bit of Bollywood film that we had in the center of town really made my family feel welcome. And I think it underscores just how diverse and welcoming a town this is. And so cut to, 8 or 9 years ago, I was working in New York City as a project manager for a small med tech firm. And I came back home and I had dinner with my dad, and we saw that the plaza was had been on sale for that point for over 5 years. There hadn't been a lot of interest, unfortunately, save for some folks who wanted to knock it down. And we just couldn't abide. And it's been a long process, because really figuring out what best to do with the space has been a struggle in and of itself. And I can tell you that working with folks like booking managers and leasing agents for films, you start to understand the economies behind a theater space like this. And so a lot of the changes that we've made in the planning process, I think, are setting ourselves up for more diverse programming there, and also for success. So yeah, it's a labor of love. It's a place that was felt like home to a lot of my family, and I'm really proud that we get to work on something that is so important to all of you. So thank you for the opportunity. I'm very glad to be here tonight. Thank you for the invitation, Jim.
Thank you very much, Neill. I really appreciate that. As you're willing to let us see more inside, let us know. We could continue these throughout the year. This is very interesting. This is going to be sent to WinTV, and it's going to generate a lot of traffic in town, because I think a lot of people are very interested in the Plaza building. But thank you very much for doing this.